Hi, I'm Doug from GearTunes, and on behalf of DITTO, Sweetwater Sound, and Gear Talk, it's my pleasure to welcome you to the NYXL pedalboard giveaway. Over the next 4 weeks, we're going to be giving away 4 pedalboards, starting with this one. We're going to break this video down into a couple of different sections. We're going to start off by talking about what you need to do to potentially win this board. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to deconstruct how I put this board together, both in terms of the components as well as the signal chain, which is going to be a lot of fun. I love pedalboards. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to deconstruct how I used the feature set of each of these pedals to put together the series of 15-second demos we shared at Instagram and Facebook.com/GearTunes over this past week. And what's neat about these demos is they're a great way to not just showcase a pedal on its own, but how it's working in the framework of a larger pedal board, which is how we use gear. Hey, all right, now one other thing. For the next 3 weeks, we're going to continue to share these 15-second demos at those addresses, and what's even cooler is we're going to be giving away a ton more of DITTO NYXL strings and Planet Waves accessories. So please join us. All right, let's get to it. All right, to qualify to win this board, you're going to need to do the following. If you're not on the desktop version of the YouTube site, please go to youtube.com/GearTunes and look right there. You're going to see some links. You're going to need to subscribe to the GearTunes, DITTO, Sweetwater, and Gear Talk channels. And you're also going to need to be a resident of either the United States, Canada, or the UK. We're really bummed that we can't open up this contest to make it worldwide, but there are rules and regulations from foreign governments that make it pretty much impossible to do that. We're sorry if you're outside of those areas. We would love to open this contest to you. It's not our fault. All right, let's deconstruct the pedal board. All 4 of the pedal boards we're going to give away are constructed using Digital Audio Lab's STOMPBLOX modular pedal boards, VOODOO Lab power supplies, Planet Waves cable station pedalboard cable kits, and Peterson Stomp Classic tuners. And what we're going to do is each week we're going to cover one key feature for each of these. One of the things I really love about the STOMPBLOX modular pedal boards is how snugly they fit together, and that's because they're made out of metal and held together using a tongue and groove system that's supported by a pair of spring-loaded set screws, so when you step on them, they stay firmly in place. All VOODOO Lab power supplies feature toroidal transformers. Though I can't really define what a toroidal transformer actually is, I can tell you what they do. Basically means that each of these power runs are isolated from one another, which means when you turn on your drive pedal and, say for example, a modulation pedal, you don't hear in the background. These guys are awesome. There are some things that I'm better at than others, and when it comes to soldering guns, between the burns and some really bad solder joints, it's really just not my cup of tea. It's one of the things I love about the Planet Waves cable kit. You can put them together with a screwdriver, and I love that. One of my favorite things about the Peterson Stomp Classic tuner is that it puts guitar tech level accuracy at the feet of guitar players like you and I, and that's super cool. Because the order of pedals is so important in terms of how I approach getting tone with a pedal board, I really wanted to talk about what pedals I'm placing where and why. All right, I'm starting off with the Peterson Stomp Classic because I don't want anything between me and the tuner. And in turn, I'm going into the Visual Sound VSXO Premium Dual Overdrive. And that in turn goes into the WAMPLER LATITUDE Tremolo Deluxe. I like to place my modulation after my drive pedals. That in turn goes out into the Tech 21 NYC Boost DLA. Again, modulation before delay. And finally, at the very end of the signal chain is where I like to place loopers. In this case, the TC Electronic DITTO Looper X2. Again, I'm going tuner, drive, modulation, time-based effect, delay, and another time-based effect, looper. And again, the looper is at the very end so it can capture all that sound. All right, on to the demos and the deconstruction of the feature sets. In this section, we're going to do 3 things for each of the tone-generating pedals on the pedal board. I'm going to start off by talking about how I'm using it in the framework of this rig. Then we're going to play the 15-second demo that we shared on Instagram and Facebook featuring that pedal. And then in turn, I'm going to kind of deconstruct how I use the feature set of the pedal to get the tones that I did. The Visual Sound VSXO Premium Dual Overdrive, as the name implies, is a dual-channeled overdrive, which is very cool. Which means in combination with the Tech 21 Boost DLA and the clean tone of the Deluxe Reverb reissue, we can kind of create a 4-channel amplifier. Channel 1 being the clean tone of the Deluxe Reverb. Channel 2 is going to add the rightmost channel of the VSXO. Channel 3 will add the left channel of the VSXO on top of the right channel. And channel 4 we're going to achieve by adding in the Tech 21 Boost DLA. All right, let's run the 15-second demo. Not only does the VSXO feature 2 completely independent channels, they're voiced differently. So let's take a look at the right-hand side of the pedal, which is channel 1. All right, that's got drive 1, tone control, and volume. Below that, a clean mix control. And then to the right of that, you've got the 3-way clipping switch and the 3-way bass switch. In terms of the way that I'm using channel 1, I'm trying to keep, again, some of the clean sound of the guitar coming through the pedal. So about 30% of the direct signal is bleeding through. Then I'm manipulating the drive control in combination with the clipping switch to add a little bit of hair to the instrument. And then the bass control is making the Strat sound a little bit fatter. Right, in terms of channel 2, you're going to see that I've got drive 2 much harder than I did on channel 1. But the tone control and the volume control are about the same, and the bass control is pulled back a little bit from noon. All right, now what I'm doing is I'm making it such that when I stack the two sides together, I've got a little bit of fatness coming in both channel 1 and channel 2, but I'm getting a lot more drive out of channel 2, which means that when I go to the bridge position of the Strat, those notes really like to sing. And one of the things that begins to happen when you add more drive is you get a little bit more compression, which means kind of the transients, quite often the attack, which is brighter, if you will, they have a tendency to get cut off. So it makes it so the Strat is nice and fat in the bridge position when I go to the solo tone. The WAMPLER Latitude Tremolo Deluxe pedal runs the gambit between vintage tremolo tones and modern, kind of helicopter-like tremolo tones. For this particular rig, I really kind of felt something a little bit more in the vintage realm. So I'm going to start off with just the Latitude on its own, but when I kick in the Tech 21 Boost DLA, you're going to hear it almost take on a little tiny bit of a univibe, sort of a quality with a hint of backwards echo because of the way the notes come on. We're going to start off again with just the Latitude on. All right, let's check out the 15-second demo. Before we talk about how I'm manipulating the feature set on the Latitude, it's probably a good idea to define exactly what a tremolo is. It is an amplitude modulation effect. And traditionally that means that you've got an on and an off state for the effect. So the notes coming on and off, on and off. And usually the amount of time that it's on and the amount of time that it's off are the same. And the controls on this effect allow you to manipulate that. What's really exciting is the effect is an analog effect, but the controls are digital. All right, let's take a look at the face of the unit. All right, from left to right, you've got the speed, which is pretty self-explanatory. Space allows you to change the proportion of the on and off state of the effect. That is extremely cool. All right, to the right of that, you have the depth control, which controls how much effect you have relationally to your direct signal. And to the right of that, you have your choice of 3 different waves. And I prefer the peak wave, the middle position there, because it kind of has that ramp up and ramp down sound that is ever so reminiscent of a backwards echo. All right, the next row below there is going to give us a level control such that when we bring the effect in, we can choose how loud the overall level of the effect is going to be, both the amplitude on and off state. That's very convenient because sometimes when you use a tremolo, it has a tendency to disappear. All right, and to the right of that you have an attack control, and that basically is really manipulating the transient of when it comes back into the on state, kind of how much spike it's got as you kind of come back into the note. Very convenient. And then to the right of that you have a 4-position subdivision switch that goes between quarter note, eighth note, dotted eighth note, and eighth note triplets. Then down at the bottom right there you have a tap tempo switch. Overall, it gives you a huge amount of latitude to get in and manipulate the sound of your tremolo. The Tech 21 Boost DLA with tap tempo has got a great feature set, but the thing I love most about it is how close it sounds to the Roland Space Echo I played for so many years. All right, let's check out the 15-second demo. As I mentioned before, the Boost DLA does a great job of capturing the essence of a vintage tape echo. Let's walk through the feature set, and then I'm going to talk about which features I'm tweaking to really bring out the tape echo essence. All right, left to right, top to bottom, you've got the mix control, which allows you to blend the direct to affected signal. Feedback is the number of repeats. Fidelity is how new or old the tape is or how dirty your tape heads are. Time is the delay time. Level is the ability to add up to 20 dB of boost. That's very convenient for solo. Tape drift is what happens when the motor of the tape echo starts to get old or the tape itself starts to get stretched. The trails button means that when you turn the delay off, you still get the little bit of spillover there from whatever triggered the last echo before you turn the echo off. The dotted eighths button means you can select either dotted eighths or just quarter notes when it's in the off position. And then the tap tempo button allows you to actually set the tempo with your foot. All right, there's a ton of features in there that are kind of modern and vintage put together. In particular, the ability to manipulate the state of the tape, new or old, whether it's shedding and getting the tape heads dirty, whether it's stretched and or the actual motor in the tape echo is starting to go bad. That's where you kind of get this chorusy effect, and it's one of my favorite things about this pedal. You're really able to dial those things in, and being able to choose either quarter notes or dotted eighths with the tap tempo, that's a big feature, and in turn, being able to have a solo boost that's built in there. Even if you turn the echo off, you can get up to 20 dB of boost, and that's awesome. As I mentioned before, I've got the TC Electronic Ditto Looper X2 at the very end of the signal chain, so I can capture whatever effects I want to have before it as I create a loop. And in this case, I'm going to use a loop that I've already generated, which is the same one you'll hear in a moment on the 15-second demo, and I'm going to jam over the top of it for a second so you can see how much fun these guys are, in case you haven't tried it. Way too much fun. All right, let's check out the 15-second demo. In addition to being a heck of a lot of fun to use, the Ditto Looper X2 has excellent functionality. Let's check out the feature set. All right, on the upper left, you're going to see a toggle switch that if you hold into the upper position for just a moment, stores a loop. If you keep that held, it will erase a loop. And in the lower position, if you hold it and turn the big knob there, it allows you to control the volume of a backing track that you can upload to the looper. Very cool. All right, on the right-hand side, there is a 3-position switch that in the upward position controls the functionality of the right foot switch, so it basically allows you to create a backwards loop by depressing that rightmost foot switch. In the middle position, it takes it to half time, which is one of the ways you can do bass tracks. Very cool. You record it at regular speed, and you drop it down to half speed, and it goes down an octave, and is half as fast. Then in the all the way down position, the functionality of that rightmost foot switch is stop functionality. All right, the leftmost foot switch is where you engage loops or engage the overdubbing process. All right, if you've made it all the way through this video, you're awesome. I certainly hope you have very good luck in winning this or one of the other 3 pedal boards we're going to be giving away. For more information about all the gear we've gone through, please visit GearTunes.com/NYXL. Product information about all of this stuff, a ton of great videos, and the ability to click through to the Sweetwater website and buy whatever gear hopefully I've inspired you to want to own. Thanks so much for watching. Cheers.